Why do you stay in a relationship, a job, or a life that makes you unhappy? Why does your brain sometimes say, "The hell I know feels safer"? I received this question through a Q&A. Why is it so hard to choose an unknown heaven over a familiar hell? This is a very open-ended question, so I want to answer it by interpreting it a little. At first, choosing heaven seems like the most natural thing in the world. After all, who wants to stay in a place that feels painful, draining, and limiting? But the human mind does not always choose what is good. Very often it chooses what is familiar, because for the brain, something familiar feels more predictable even when it hurts. The unknown, even when it carries good possibilities, still means uncertainty, and uncertainty can sometimes feel like danger to the nervous system. That is why you may struggle to leave a painful relationship, an unhappy job, a limiting environment, or a life that no longer feels right for you. Because the issue is not only wanting something better. The real issue is feeling safe enough to step into something better. I want to make something very clear here. If you are staying in a familiar hell, it does not mean you are weak, unhealthy, or lacking willpower. Sometimes the conditions are genuinely difficult. Financially, emotionally, culturally, socially, or psychologically. You may need time to prepare your way out. So if you cannot change immediately, it does not mean you do not value yourself. Sometimes you are simply trying to survive. You can think of this as a transition period. One part of you is still inside the old life. Another part of you is preparing for a new one. If your conditions are not ready for change yet, that does not make you someone who cannot change. It makes you someone who is waiting for the right time and trying to adapt to reality. But if your conditions are suitable for change, if you have support, and you are still staying somewhere painful only because it feels familiar, then you may need to ask yourself, am I really safe here? Or do I just know this pain very well? Because the life you were born into may not be the life you belong to. You can adapt to a place and still not feel like you belong there. The people around you may not understand your vision. They may see your worldview, your desires, and your potential as too small or too big. And after a while, you may start asking yourself, do I really want this life? Or am I living the life I was taught to live? You can see examples of this all over the world. Some people come from very traditional families and become artists. Some people leave safe-looking careers and build the work they have carried inside them for years. Some people create their own path in a field where everyone told them, you can't do this. Some people hide themselves for years and then choose to become visible as who they truly are. From the outside, you may call this courage, but from the inside, it is often a series of small steps taken with fear. Because when you step toward an unknown heaven, you cannot know for sure if it will really be heaven. But if you never take that step, you will never know what could have happened. I do not want to make this sound too romantic. One of the things I value most in my work is realism. On this page, I try to look at everything not only with hope, but also with reality. Not only with my own reality, but with the realities of life. So what truth might you need to see here? Not every unknown path turns out beautifully. Not every change is easy. Not every new road brings peace immediately. What you imagined and what you receive may not be the same. Anything can happen. But the main thing to understand is this. What changes a person's life is not being perfectly sure. Sometimes what changes your life is realizing that a possibility is worth trying. That is why protecting yourself during change is so important. Preparing for difficult possibilities, getting support, gathering information, not rushing your decisions, and creating safe transition spaces for yourself matters. Because jumping into the unknown and walking toward the unknown with preparation are not the same thing. To understand whether the unknown heaven you imagine is truly right for you, do not look only at its beautiful side. What are the costs of that life? What are the responsibilities? What are the difficult parts? Does it fit your values, your needs, and your personality? Because what makes you happy is not just what looks better. What makes you happy is what is aligned with you. Sometimes you want to leave your old life, but you do not yet know what the new life asks from you, so you may only want to escape. But healthy change is not just running away from somewhere, it is consciously moving towards somewhere. You can ask yourself, what do I want to move out of? What do I want to move into? Does this new life really belong to me, or does it only feel attractive because it is far from the old one? What conditions do I need to prepare for this change? What have other people who walk this path done before me? Because sometimes in the beginning you are the only one who can see your vision. Your environment may not see it. Your family may not understand it. Your friends may not find it realistic. Even you may doubt yourself sometimes. But most visions become visible to others only after they become real. Many things we see as normal today were once someone's impossible dream. Starting a business, moving to a new country, starting from zero. redefining yourself, leaving a toxic relationship, going on stage, writing, speaking, becoming visible. All of these begin first in the mind. If this question came to your mind, there may be a part of you that no longer fits into the old place. But the point is not to make a huge decision immediately. The point is to begin getting to know that possibility. Reading, researching, listening to people who have walked that path, trying small experiments, creating safe spaces for yourself. The more the brain sees a new possibility, the less it feels completely foreign, because change does not always begin with becoming brave all at once. Sometimes change begins by showing your mind that a new life is possible. First, you begin to believe that you can create this life, then you start moving toward it. And as that vision becomes visible, other people begin to see it too. And remember this, a familiar pain does not have to be your destiny just because you know it well. Your brain is not trying to sabotage you. It may be trying to protect you, but the place you learn to survive in can eventually become the place that stops you from growing. The same thing may feel safe to you, but it may no longer be aligned with you. That is why it is normal to enter a transformation process for a life that truly fits you. From the outside, other people may see this as ruining your comfort. They may say, you are not using your opportunities. They may say, you are not thinking clearly. But if the life you choose fits your own values, then other people's approval does not have to decide everything. You are the one living this life, not someone else. If something that makes another person happy does not make you happy, that is not your failure. You can say to yourself, I am giving myself time for change. I am allowing myself to get to know this version of me. Understanding your inner world is the first step of change. This question came to me through social media. If you also have questions that you are trying to understand, questions like, why am I experiencing this? You can write them in the comments. I am not here only to explain psychology. I want to make the feelings people experience but cannot always name more understandable, because when a question enters a person's mind, the first step of change may have already begun. If you enjoy this kind of Q&A content, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every person deserves good feelings, and the first step toward those good feelings may be questioning the familiar hell you have learned to live inside.